And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick here with Scarlet Fu, taking you through the closing bell, a global simulcast. It starts right now. Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec in the radio booth. Alex Steele has the day off as we welcome our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, television, radio, and our partnership with YouTube. And Carol, before we get started, I just want to reiterate some breaking news that just crossed the Bloomberg terminal. Microsoft has been sent a list of questions by the FTC, one of the main antitrust watchdogs here in the U.S., involving the company's software licensing, cybersecurity, and AI practices that did send the shares down to session lows.
Yeah, they say after more than a year of conducting informal interviews with competitors and business partners, antitrust enforcers have crafted a detailed request to force Microsoft to turn over information. According to those familiar, the demand, which is hundreds of pages long, has been sent to the company after FTC Chair Lina Khan signed off, said one of the individuals in the know. And as you said, shares of Microsoft, we know the big tech mega cap space has been lower today, but right now we've got Microsoft hovering near its lows of the session, down about 1.2%. Yeah,
those antitrust lawyers over at the FTC are set to meet with Microsoft competitors next week to actually get more information about the company's business practices. This is according to two other people familiar with the plans who, like the others, asked not to be named, discussing a confidential matter. Microsoft and the FTC did decline to comment.
The one weird thing about this, though, is I do wonder, why do something like this when basically everyone involved in sending this letter is probably not going to have a job in 2 months?
Just wondering the same thing.
That's a good question.
I don't know. I mean,
a message?
It could be performative. We were talking with one of the Bloomberg reporters who said that this investigation has been a long time coming, so maybe it just took some time to get to this point. Nevertheless, a lot of questions that need to be answered as we get the closing bells here on this Wednesday afternoon. Light trading ahead of the Thanksgiving Day holiday, with the Salvation Army, good for them, ringing the bell over at the NYSE. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lower by more than 100 points, or about 0.3%. The S&P down about 0.4%. The NASDAQ Composite is going to close out the day lower by 0.6%. You see the theme going here. The one indice that is trying to buck that's the Russell 2000, actually going to finish the day slightly in the green, higher by 2 points, or just about 0.1%.
Yeah, that Russell continuing to outperform the S&P 500 since the election. In terms of the S&P 500, though, the big caps, kind of an even split, Scarlet. 269 names actually gaining ground on this Wednesday. 231 to the downside, 3 unchanged.
Yeah, but more sectors are in the red than in the green. We're going to start with tech, of course, the biggest decliner among industry groups, losing 1.2%. And that, of course, is a huge slice of the pie because of its weighting. Consumer discretionary also lower by 0.7%. And industrial. So some of those cyclicals coming into play as well. On the flip side, real estate investment trusts, healthcare, and financials are doing better. So even as people have been rotating into cyclicals, there's certainly a discerning between the different sectors within the cyclical group.
All right, guys, maybe I had too much time on my hand, but my list of gainers today, an homage to the one and only and always dapperly dressed Romaine Bostick, because the list is like a shopping day for him. So we're going to start with Urban Outfitters.
You shop at Urban Outfitters?
I'd like to see Romaine.
I'll plead the
Urban Outfitters.
All right. Well, we're going to start there. That stock's up 18%.
I did go in there once.
There you go.
Maybe even twice, perhaps.
Yeah, I felt old.
All right. Well, you kind of are old, but all right. No, I'm just kidding. No, seasoned is what I would say. Urban Outfitters up 18%, up the most intraday in more than 4 years. Really a big pop here. Home to Anthropologie's, Urban Outfitters, Free People, Newly Brands reported stronger than expected sales growth in the third quarter, led by their Anthropologie brand. It suggests that Urban Outfitters may be faring better than some of the other apparel retailers.
Oh, wait, I've been to Anthropologie. I forgot. Yeah.
I know, that's a really
I actually liked some. I got a couple of pieces of furniture from them.
See?
Yeah,
okay.
And one of those frilly dresses.
You know, I could see that. No, maybe not. But and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to say. Anyway, so upbeat in that one. All right, let's continue with the Romaine shopping trip, because maybe we stop at Ulta Beauty, because that one also up about 4% in today's session. D.A. Davidson saying that competitive pressures on the cosmetics retailer are, quote, showing some signs of alleviation. Apparently, there's been some concern a little bit more generally in the space. The analyst there notes that slowing industry trends and competition have weighed on Ulta's comparable sales. So maybe they're not. We shouldn't be so worried is basically the message. And then as we finish up the shopping trip for Romaine, Foot Locker up 3.4% today. Williams Trading raised the company to hold from sell, saying that its improved assortment of products from brands like New Balance and others offering to maybe do enough to offset diminishing Nike allocations in the near term. So anyway, those were your 3 gainers.
Okay, I got the decliners. The theme around my decliners, not about shopping, it's about earnings. That's why they're all moving. Starting with shares of Dell, down more than 12% today. This after the company reported revenue in the most recent quarter that missed the average analyst estimate. We also saw HP Inc. report quarterly financial results indicating that a recovery of the PC market is stalling. We talked to Woo Jin Ho over at Bloomberg Intelligence, and I asked him, hey, isn't Dell an AI play these days? And he said, yeah, he's kind of scratching his head as to why investors are overlooking the AI momentum that we learned from Dell yesterday. The stock's done really well so far year to date, but this today down more than 12%. CrowdStrike fell after the company issued a weaker than expected earnings forecast. Investors were disappointed because they've been watching for signs that it's recovered from that flawed update that crashed computers around the world. You remember what happened over the summer? Millions of devices operating on Windows crashed as a result of that flawed CrowdStrike update. Remember what happened over at Delta. The company did post signs 3 months ago that beat expectations, a sign that investors took to mean that the IT outage that was global in nature would not significantly affect its finances. CrowdStrike shares fell by about 4.6% today. And finally, Nordstrom shares falling on third quarter results. The company did raise the lower end of its annual sales guidance after its off-price and flagship chains reported quarterly sales growth that was better than expected. Shares down today by about a little over 8%, Romaine.
Yeah, interesting. I was kind of curious about why we saw such a big move lower on Dell, down 12% on the day. It kind of had me scratching my head as well, but maybe the way that it run up contributed partly to that. Let's check in on the yield space here. A somewhat muted day there with yields moving lower across the curve, roughly down about 3 to 4 basis points on the 2-year curve. Your benchmark 10-year yield moving down by about 6 basis points and 5 basis points on the 30-year yield here. But then when you look at the yield curve in totality, the 210s, pretty much where we've been now for the last couple of days. 210s right now sitting right around about 2.3 and with a positive sign.
All right, so as we get ready for the Thanksgiving holiday, folks, certainly here in the New York metro area, get ready for a wet one. The Thanksgiving Day parade is going to be maybe a little messy this year. I know. It's. I've been.
It's our tradition every year. We go out every morning.
Do you really?
Yeah, we get up early and go out there. We go rain or shine, by the way. So
now you need to bring your umbrellas and your raincoats.
Yeah. There's like this fast-moving storm along the Northeast, and so they're saying northern New Jersey, you're looking for maybe an inch of rain. New York, Boston, early Thursday morning, and then
so this is real rain. This isn't just a drizzle.
This isn't just a drizzle.
But we need it, though.
Well, maybe I'll thin out the crowds.
We need it. We need the rain here. 97% of the Northeast has been abnormally dry. More than half of it is actually in drought. So the storm that we could get tomorrow should tamp down the risk of those brush fires that we've seen over the last month that could ease pressure on the upstate reservoirs that provide New York City with drinking water. I can't believe we're actually talking about this in the Northeast. Like, I'm from California. Drought, is a fact of life. But yeah, this is not great here.
Yeah, riveting. What's your favorite balloon, Tim?
What's my favorite what?
What's your favorite balloon?
Balloon?
Yeah.
A Bluey balloon. It has to be Bluey. Is there a Bluey balloon?
Yes. He was there last year.
Okay, yeah, Bluey.
What's your favorite
Have you never taken the kids to the...
Carol, this is like they're not gonna. I'm not gonna introduce them to.
Right now
this,
they're blowing up balloons. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Tim's like, they don't need to know about this.
They don't need to know about this?
It's like Disneyland. They don't need to know about it.
They don't need to know it exists until they do that.
I'm going to write them a little bit.
It's a need-to-know basis with this stuff, okay?
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
You parent your way.
Tim, depriving his kids of joy and fun.
You do you, Tim.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's how we roll.
There's something else this Thanksgiving which is curious, which we've talked about this a number of times. Turkey prices are lower.
Yeah.
They're the same where they're lower, and Stu Leonard's was telling us this yesterday. But what's interesting as well is that...
he told us about a lot of his deals.
Yes, he did. But the supply of turkey is also lower, too.
You had fun. It looks like you guys had fun.
It was a lot of fun. He was very proud of the romaine lettuce in particular.
Of course.
Selling out.
Yes, exactly. No, but with lower turkey prices, there's also lower supply. So usually it doesn't work like that, right? I mean, usually when there's lower supply, the turkey prices go up. But all it does is really show that there's not a whole lot of demand for turkeys this holiday. Are people eating something else?
But isn't that like, I feel like we have this conversation every year. It's like, who buys a whole turkey? Any other time other than Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe Easter.
That's kind of a hot take, right?
There should be higher prices for turkey given that supplies are tight.
I thought Stu's thing was right. He talks about the idea of where the aggregate demand is, and the idea here is that those prices don't fluctuate as much. And also they were saying that the producers have a lot more time to react to their own cost pressures because it is a bit more of a seasonal item.
Well, I was asking the question because we often have hot pot or shabu shabu instead of turkey for Thanksgiving. We just don't even do the turkey thing.
That sounds great. I'm coming over.
Sacrilegious.
Wow. No, you got to do turkey.
Coming over.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
That's great.
now we do both. Now we do turkey
Eat a
and hot pot,
leg.
so.
Got to be able to eat it the next morning. Like,
I'm with you.
Oh yeah,
I know.
constant
All right.
eating on
Tradition.
Friday, right?
So Scarlett and Tim, you do you.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
Romaine and
They're
I will
definitely
do us.
non-traditionalists when it comes to the holiday, but it's fine. It's America.
All right, guys.
The parade doesn't exist. We don't eat turkey.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love leftovers are my favorite. That's like my favorite thing. Have a good and safe weekend, everybody, and be careful with the
You
weather
too.
out there. Happy Thanksgiving. Much love, much love.